When Valve announced the Steam Deck OLED limited edition white model, it's a super long name, but when they announced the white OLED, I was really excited because I thought that it was going to be like an incremental improvement of, well, the specs. Even if it wasn't like a generational leap of any kind, it was just something that's a little extra in comparison to what we've already had for years. But unfortunately, I was disappointed. When I finally got the Steam Deck OLED white model in my hands, I was just disappointed. That being said, yes, the aesthetic is nice. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like hopefully this comes out in video, but the white that's there's like little bits of gray that kind of give me almost Super Nintendo vibes or Super Famicom vibes. Like I like the aesthetic that's there, and the orange accent is nice as well. When it comes to the case itself, it's also white and it's there to protect the Steam Deck, but this is definitely gonna get dirty the more that you use it. I would recommend going with a third-party company, kind of like Satisfy, which is today's sponsor, and they actually have a heck of a deal going on right now. Chances are, if you have a Steam Deck or a Steam Deck OLED, or you're considering getting one, you want to make sure that you protect your investment. This is where Satisfy's Stealth Grip comes into play. Now, I've had this for quite some time, but I was checking out their website. They're currently having a Black Friday sale where you can get 50% off using the code BFCM24. I'll have it in the description as well as the pinned comment down below, as well as a link pointing to their website. And they actually just upgraded the Stealth Grip to the Stealth Grip 1.5, and there's two color variants, Onyx and Tundra. You have your black and your white. So if you have a white limited edition model, you can get that as well. But one of the things that I love about this case is that it's not there to only protect it, but it's also there to make it much more ergonomic and comfortable. And above all of the features that are there, the front cover to protect the front buttons and the triggers, the rise pads and notch extensions for the joysticks, as well as the stealth glass and the silicone pads for the back buttons. It also naturally integrates into the Steam Deck dock. I cannot say this enough. I love the fact that it just works. You don't have to worry about any crazy adapters or USB extensions or L connectors. It just works naturally, and that's beautiful because it's designed beautifully. If you're ready to elevate your gaming experience as well as protect your gaming experience, follow the link down below and make sure that you use the code BFCM24 to get 50% off. And thanks to Satisfy for sponsoring this video. All right, now that some bills are paid, we can talk about the specs and what comes with your order. Now, when it comes to the specs, this is very similar to the Steam Deck OLED. It's that 6nm APU from AMD, as well as 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5 and a 7.4-inch HDR OLED display with 90 hertz refresh rate and an 800p resolution. Now, this is very familiar. I'll also have the specs of the original Steam Deck LCD model, so you can see the differences between the two. But when it comes down to it, one of the biggest things that I do like about that OLED jump in contrast to the LCD is that with that OLED jump, we also got a larger battery and just overall more power efficiency in the grand scheme of things. So if you have an LCD model and you're considering getting an OLED, or if you don't have anything and you're trying to choose between the two, I would go with the OLED model over the LCD model any day of the week because those improvements make such a huge impact in your gaming experience. Now, when you do buy the Steam Deck OLED White Edition, it does come not only with the case and the Steam Deck inside, but it also comes with a power adapter. Now, I was hoping that this power adapter would be white, similar to the rest of this whole ensemble, but unfortunately, it's just the typical regular black that we saw with the other Steam Deck OLED models that are out there. Now, this is a longer cable than you would get with the LCD model. As far as I know, they also are releasing these power adapter 2.0 versions with the LCD models if you were to buy them today. But as far as I can tell, it's just longer, you have a little bit more flexibility, and the power adapter itself is smaller, so it has a smaller footprint. Now with the case, it is all white, and there are some black accents that are here that I think are pretty cool, but similar to the other limited edition model, there is an interior case that you can remove. It's a little bit smaller, has a smaller footprint, isn't as sturdy, but it's just easier to take with you if you wanted to take it with you, but that's also white, so I don't know. Everything's going to get dirty really fast, which is one of the things that I kind of don't like about the whole white aesthetic when it comes to the case itself. The Steam Deck, I understand, but that also has the potential of getting dirty. So I don't know. But when it comes down to the Steam Deck OLED, there are three things, especially this white edition. There are three things that I really like about it and three things that I don't like about it that I think should be mentioned for anyone that wants to go ahead and get it, because as of right now, you can still buy that if you want to. First and foremost, I think the color is off awesome. If you are a fan of 16-bit and you are a SNES kid or a Super Famicom kid, like this is right up your alley. It just feels very much like a Super Nintendo without obviously the purple accents and has the orange accent, but it's the gray that's there just kind of reminds me of Super Nintendo, and I instantly got that. Again, I hope that this comes out on screen when I'm sharing it with you, but when it came down to it, I really like the aesthetic that's there. The case, despite it, you know, being easily, you know, susceptible to dirt and grime and whatnot, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. I like the case that comes with the Steam Deck. It's a one-stop shop. You don't have to worry about things. But again, because it is white, I'm afraid that this is just going to get dirty really, really fast. And that's just something that there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That, you know, it's just going to happen. Now, one of the benefits of having that same form factor for the body of the Steam Deck is that you can use this with any of the accessories that have been out there for the Steam Deck OLED. Now, I do know that there are some slight differences between the two when it comes to the Steam Deck OLED and LCD model, so there might be some discrepancies, especially talking about the analog sticks. But aside from that, I would say 99% of everything that was out there for the Steam Deck LCD will work for this as well, with a huge asterisk depending on the analog sticks. But aside from that, everything just works. I've tried multiple accessories, including docks and cases, and everything it just works. I don't have to worry about things. So if you're considering upgrading from an LCD to an OLED, and this or any other OLED is you know, something that you're interested in, then you don't really have to worry about the accessories that are there because it just works. Talking about the things that I don't like when it comes to this OLED white limited edition model, I don't like the fact that there wasn't any sort of incremental improvement in terms of hardware. I'd be okay paying a little bit more money if that meant that this came with additional RAM, or if the screen, instead of it being 90 hertz, was 120 hertz. Like I don't know. I would have been fine with the same resolution. I would have been fine with the same size of the screen. I just would have wanted some form of improvement of some kind. And I understand that the AMD APU that's in there is, you know, it's a custom designed APU, and they probably want to squeeze as much juice out of it while they can. And I do know that Valve wants to make a huge leap in terms of performance between this Steam Deck model and the next Steam Deck model. But I wanted a little bit more when it came to this. So maybe that's just me and my expectations. Let me know down in the comments if you wanted some form of an improvement with this. But for me personally, I wanted something, anything that would have been, you know, just nice when it came down to it. One thing that I do want to go ahead and mention is that I hope that this doesn't signal to Valve that this is going to be, you know, the Nintendo way of doing things, and that we're not going to get any sort of incremental hardware improvements, but just a ton of color variations, and that's kind of the end of the day. Like, there's a bunch of, you know, D-brand skins that are out there that you can put on here. There's a bunch of cases that are out there from D-brand, JSO, and so on and so forth, that it just, to me, it doesn't make sense for it to be, you know, a color variant, and that's it. You know, like, I would want something a little bit more, and that's a very Nintendo thing to do. I just don't want Valve to follow in Nintendo's footsteps when it comes down to the Steam Deck itself. Speaking of which, with this color being the way it is, the color white, the OLED bezels are very, very apparent. Now, with the Steam Deck OLED limited edition model, the black one, it just, the bezels kind of just blended into the case itself, so it wasn't that apparent. And my assumption is that any of the other OLED models that are out there, it's the same thing. It'll just blend in and you don't have to worry about it. But when it comes down to using the white OLED that's there, there's so much contrast between that white exterior and the black bezel that's there, that it becomes very, very apparent whenever I'm using it. So I don't know, it kind of takes a little bit away from, you know, making the OLED screen just that much better with the black model. So, but obviously this is a personal thing. When it comes down to it, I'm like looking at it right now as it's running some games, and it's kind of disappointing when it comes to that white shell that's there and the black bezel that's there on the screen itself. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. There is a potential that's there for a bright future. For those of you that don't know, Proton was just recently updated, and it does seem like there might be some NVIDIA support in the future. Now, we don't know if that's going to be with the Steam Deck 2 or whatever it may be, so take it all with a grain of salt. But when it comes down to it, I would like to be able to have a handheld that is much more powerful than what we have right now. Obviously, Valve has stated that when they do release the Steam Deck 2, it will be an incremental jump that is essentially generational without the sacrifice of power or electricity or battery life, which I think for me is a huge thing. Not only increasing the level of performance that you get through the chipset, but also maintaining the battery life that we've come to expect with the OLED model. So obviously, I would like to see that as well, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. Now, for me personally, I don't know what it is exactly that I'm going to do with this Steam Deck OLED White Edition. I might do a giveaway. I don't know. I know that my wife's not exactly ecstatic with having the Steam Deck. When I told her I was going to buy this, she wasn't necessarily too happy about it. But, you know, we'll see what happens. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Is this something that you got for yourself? Are you interested in something like this? And what do you think of the future for Valve and their Steam Deck line? Let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to hear my thoughts on the Steam Deck and why I still think that it is the best go-to option for most people, then click this video over here. And if you want to hear my thoughts on the Ally versus the Ally X, then click this video over here. And until next time, guys, I will see you on the next one. Peace.